Nerodia is a clever and devious gorgon with boundless energy and business savvy. Just the right owner for a dark tavern like the Black Dragon Depths. To set up to play Nerodia, make sure that her boss cards are not in her deck unless you're playing a boss battle. If you'd like, you can use her petrification marker during play to identify her petrification pile, which we'll talk about soon. Keep it next to your player mat. Many of Nerodia's cards cause players to petrify X cards. When a player petrifies one or more cards, they must give that many cards face down from their hand to Nerodia to put on the bottom of her petrification pile. You may wish to put the pile under the Nerodia token to keep cards distinguished from the many other cards on the table. Players may not look at the cards in the petrification pile. This includes Nerodia herself. If multiple cards are petrified at the same time from a single player or from multiple different players, put them under her petrification pile in a random order. Nerodia may never petrify her own cards. If Nerodia would petrify a card from her own hand via a redirection effect or something similar, she does not. If a player needs to petrify cards and has no cards remaining in their hand, they do not petrify any cards. If a player is eliminated and has cards in Nerodia's petrification pile, those cards remain in the pile until they decay or are glared. If Nerodia is eliminated, all cards in her petrification pile return to the hands of the characters they came from. If a player negates a card with a petrify effect, no player petrifies cards. If a player ignores a card with a petrify effect, that player doesn't petrify cards, although other players might. Many of Nerodia's cards can use cards from her petrification pile for an added effect. Glare X means that as you play the card, you may spend X cards from the top of the petrification pile for that effect. When you play a card with a glare ability, you must declare whether you intend to use that ability. If you do, place the appropriate number of cards for the glare ability face down underneath the played card. When the played card goes to your discard pile, even if it's negated or ignored, return all of the attached cards without looking at them to the hands of the players they came from. A glare ability on a card may only be used once. You may not pay more cards to use the glare ability multiple times. You may not declare the use of a glare ability unless you have at least the indicated number of cards already in your petrification pile when you play the card. If a card has both a petrify ability and a glare ability, you may not use the cards from that petrify ability to pay the glare, because the glare cost must be paid before the petrify ability resolves. Nerodia's petrification pile slowly decays. At the start of Nerodia's turn, she returns the top card of the petrification pile to the hand of the character it comes from. When Nerodia returns one or more petrified cards, she does not look at them. They are returned to the appropriate player's hands and may be played as normal. If a card would be returned to a player that has been eliminated from the game, that card is simply discarded. If Nerodia would cause a gizmo, a minion, or auto to petrify cards, nothing happens. If one of Nerodia's effects would cause a gizmo or minion to be unable to play cards for a time, nothing happens. In particular, these effects do not transfer to Wrench or Torglesnarf. If Nerodia petrifies one of Murgath's blessing cards, it goes to the petrification pile as normal. However, when that card would return to a player's hand from the petrification pile, it goes to the blessing discard pile instead. If numeric effects are changed on Nerodia's cards, via a power jinx from Natalie, for example, this affects petrify abilities, but not glare abilities. Thanks for watching! We've got more RDI 8 intros for you, or you could watch us stream some pub crawl.